in this video, we're going to look at how to solve absolute value equations. So here we go. An absolute value equation is an equation that contains an absolute value expression. These can be solved by solving two related linear equations. So here's what that means. To solve ax plus b, or the absolute value of ax plus b equals c, when c is greater than or equal to 0, so that's key. C can't be less than 0. We'll talk about why in just a second. We're going to solve the two related linear equations. So we have ax plus b equals c, so that's exactly as it's written. And we have ax plus b equals the opposite of c. So let's think about why that is. Let's look at this basic example. Absolute value of what number is equal to 6? So you could look at that right there and say, well, x could be 6, right? Because the absolute value of 6 is 6. Or x could be negative 6, because the absolute value of negative 6 is also positive 6. Because remember, absolute value just represents distance on a number line, or distance away. So we're going to use this logic to answer the rest of the examples. So example number 1 says absolute value of x minus 1 equals 4. So x minus 1 could be 4, or x minus 1 could be negative 4. And we just solve for x. We add 1, and x could be 5. We add 1, and x could be negative 3. So those are our two solution options. Let's look at example 2. Now, we see absolute value of 3 plus x equals negative 3. Can absolute value equal a negative number? No. So because this is written this way, c is less than 0, we can just already go off and say, hey, there's no solution to that absolute value equation, because absolute value can't be negative. All right, look at example 3. We have a couple operations happening to our absolute value. So let's just undo those by inverse operations, and then we'll get that absolute value by itself. So let's go ahead and add 3. So we get negative 2 times the absolute value of 5x minus 1 equals negative 11 plus 3 would give us negative 8. And now let's divide both sides by negative 2. So now we have absolute value of 5x minus 1 equals positive 4. Now we can write our two related linear equations. So let's do 5x minus 1, that could be 4, or 5x minus 1 could be negative 4. So we add 1, 5x equals 5. When we divide by 5, we get x equals 1. So x could be 1, 5x equals negative 3, or x could be negative 3 over 5. And you could say x is negative 0.6 if you want to write it as a decimal. All right, now we could have absolute values on both sides of the equation. Once again, two related linear equations. And we kind of follow that same principle of keeping the left side the same and making the right side opposite. So we're going to say x plus 8 equals 2x plus 1, or x plus 8 could be the opposite of 2x plus 1. So here we can subtract x from both sides. We get 8 equals x plus 1, and we get x equals 7. So x could be 7. And over here we want to distribute this negative sign. So x plus 8 equals negative 2x minus 1. So if we add 2x, we get 3x plus 8 equals negative 1. And if we subtract 8, we get 3x equals negative 9. And we get x equals negative 3. So those are our two solutions. Last example. 2 plus x could be x minus 8, or 2 plus x could equal the opposite of x minus 8. So here, let's go ahead and subtract x. But look what happens. We get 2 equals negative 8. That can't happen. So that possible solution is out. So on that related linear equation, there's no solution, which means we're going to solve this other equation, and that could be our only solution. So we have 2 plus x equals, we distribute this negative, so negative x plus 8. So we add x to both sides. We get 2 plus 2x equals 8. We subtract 2, so 2x equals 6. And we divide by 2 and get x equals 3. And that's how we solve absolute value equations.